the way we raise our kids, we're raising the little us. Meaning that a lot of the things that we didn't have, we try to provide our kids with, and sometimes to our detriment. We try to give them whatever, and they don't see what the work that it takes to get to the thing, and we're not really giving them the thing that they actually really need, which is time. We're ripping and running. We're doing all this, and we're providing. And I had a conversation with my son. One thing that I put in place was to go to breakfast with him once a month, and we sit, we play cards at the breakfast table. We eat, we break bread, we just talk about nothing. And I think that's impactful for him. He likes doing that. But we were listening to a podcast on the way home, and he was like, something came up like something like, yo, are you a workaholic or something like that? Something. And he asked me, like, yo, do you think you're a workaholic? I'm like, well, you tell me, do you think I am? Tell me about my schedule. He broke it down. And he's like, yeah, at night you're tired all the time. And I'm like, so I'm like, well, how would you fix that? And he was like, well, maybe you don't schedule as much of, this time or that time. Maybe you cut back on your schedule a little bit. So I said, okay, I got it. I see what you're saying. I'm going to go ahead and knock my schedule back a little bit. So a lot of times we're doing a lot of the things for the little us because we didn't have.
Right.
Do you guys feel that way now that I kind of brought that up? Do you guys feel that way, that you're taking care of the little you and actually providing the things that you didn't have to your guys' detriment? Hey, family, this is Che Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, this is episode 92. 92 weeks of consistency, 92 weeks of getting it done, 92 weeks of giving you good information, hopefully to enrich your lives, okay? If you are a first-time listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for joining us. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. If you are a return listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Hopefully, we are adding value to your lives on the way to the M's, because as always, we are getting to the M's. So, guys, last week we had a very, very special couple, Stephanie and Derek Weston. We are on a marriage series, talking and shedding light on marriages and how we can do business together, how we can stay married, stay happy, different things that might have gone through that may help you as a watcher. So today I have another very special couple. This guy is an OG to Wealth is a Journey podcast. He's probably been on here. This is probably his fourth time now. And he's bringing his queen back. Wow, his queen is giving him the eye because she's a hater. And we gonna find out.
My first time.
Yeah. It's her first time on the show. Jamai and Cherish Robinson, let's go.
Why are you doing a fake clap with no sound?
Yeah, listen, man. There you go. There you go. Oh, man. Here we go.
I forgot he does the extra.
See,
edit. My bad.
No, we're not gonna edit it. We're gonna keep all that information in because you a hater. Okay. Nah, but we got my peoples, man, Jamai and Cherish Robinson. These two are very special to me. Jamai is my man, business partner. This dude is all over, man. He's doing a lot, and his wife, she's like the little sister that you never asked for, but you're glad that you got her. You know what I'm saying? She's really, really good people. I'm starting to notice something about myself now that I'm talking about you, Cherish.
Yeah, let me hear. I'm
starting to notice something about me that the women that I'm cool with, you, Stephanie, Nancy, everybody is petty, right? But I'm thinking maybe I'm attracting the petty. Maybe it's me.
Because
it may be you. It's not
you are petty. You was almost there. You almost got there. We almost got the breakthrough. So close.
But nah, these are my peoples, man. These people are very near and dear to me. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about marriage. We're gonna talk about business. We're gonna talk about their children, their special children. We're gonna get into it. And so buckle up. This is going to be a really good episode. But first, to start off, Cherish, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, where you're from this week,
Sure.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Well, first, thank you for having me on the podcast. You are helping me fulfill one of the items on my bucket list, my life list. So I appreciate this opportunity. So Cherish Robinson, Cherish Krishanta Apollonia Wilfred Robinson, if you want the full name. You know what? Can we edit that out? I don't want all that out there.
We're going to keep that right.
I don't want that in the world. This is what podcasts do to you. You expose yourself. Cherish, I am from Delaware by way of Chester and Darby. Those have been the places I've grown up before coming here to Delaware, but I've been in Delaware now since high school, 20 plus years, family's here. So I'm Delaware.
All right. And Jamai, how about you, sir?
All right.
I mean, so, you're an OG, but just for the new listeners who haven't.
I'm just going to say that I don't have to do by way of, because it's only one place like Philly. I mean, that's Eagles, I'm just saying Eagles, not Dallas, not Texas.
Come on, man.
So Philly, right?
But you've been in Delaware for how many years now?
I've been in Philly way more of my life than Delaware. Philly, PHIL.
But I'm not co-signing.
Why? Okay, there we go. Yeah, you got it.
I had to do the abbreviation of Philadelphia because.
Okay.
No doubt. So question is, how did you guys meet? Because there's many different versions of how people met. You got the Jamai's version, you got Cherish's version. But Cherish, why don't you, in a nutshell, sum of how you guys met?
I think we probably have the same story.
Yes, we do.
We both were at an event that we hadn't planned to be at a fire hall party in Wilmington. It was an event where his friends who were pledging Kappa were there and invited him.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, definitely.
Continue. I'm sorry.
My friends who were pledging AKA were there, and I got invited to come support. So we were both coming to support friends who were in the fraternity, sorority life. Neither of us don't have any interest in it, but we were there to support. And no shade, it's just not for us. But we were both there to support our friends. And I'll be honest, I was there first. I saw him come into the room, and he caught my eye with his tweed plaid blazer. I saw him and I said, that's the one I want tonight for that night.
Tonight.
Tonight. You heard that. Wow. You heard that tonight.
Yeah, that's good. Tonight. Dude, that's wow. But you're honest. That's good. At least you're being honest. That's
So as the party went on, the night went on, I saw my opportunity to come across his way, and I did. And he immediately just was like, oh my gosh, girl, where you been all my life?
This is where the story,
that's why I said there's two versions. I already know.
Where have you been all my life?
We're just, we have those exaggerational parts or parts that you exaggerate.
So it's not true that you whispered in my ear and said, I have an ING account called Wedding Ring.
No. See, this is where she kind of mixed up the days, because that was that wasn't until like our date started.
Day one, first dance, he knew. And
it might have been the hot box of wine that I drank. So that might have been okay. I don't remember.
I feel like it was probably like Boone's Farms, because y'all, I don't know if y'all was really like balling at that point in time. Boone's Farms.
We was in the fire hall with boxes of wine with no ice.
Oh, sophisticated. Okay, I see you.
But that's what happens with Kappa's throw parties.
I'm gonna let that slide. I'm gonna let that slide. You got it. I'm not gonna be petty today. Right. But how long were y'all dating before you said, "Hey, I'm a marry this woman"?
Yeah, how long, Jamai?
It was about really 4, but 5 years until we got married.
No, 5 years before you proposed.
Yeah, but it was really 4. They talking about how long we were dating.
Yeah.
It took 5 years before you proposed to me. We met in 2007. He proposed in 2011.
Yeah. I agree.
So that is 4 years.
I feel like there's some unresolved trauma there. Because
no. I'm just glad you're able to record the math.
Yeah.
The math
I see it. I see exactly what you go through, brother. I see exactly what you go
5
through.
years before we got married. That's what I said.
Now, I don't know about you, Jamai. I'm gonna tell on myself, but I was outside, all right, before I got wow,
I
Cherish.
didn't move my head. I was looking.
I was outside, right, and then I met my wife, and she did certain things, not yam related, but yam related too sometimes some. And she cooked, she cleaned, she did a lot of the things that I was like, oh man, this is a keeper. What was the thing that said to you, I need to marry this woman?
So, which we agree on. It was just the night that you came over and you helped paint the house. So I had so the house in Philly, it had like a Smurf blue wall. It's like the worst.
Not a wall.
Like walls. Yes, walls. It was the worst blue you can ever get. Because like we painted that thing like 3-4 times. Like that was like what was that movie? Like what was it, Ghost, when they were doing like the mud? That was like an all-night project, like how they were making the pottery. Like that's how it was with the wall, just all night project of trying to get this wall to be white. It didn't matter how many times we painted it. But with that being said, like her just sticking through it and saying, hey, I'm going to help you with this project. And that was just one thing, but it was multiple things. Like it was times when she traveled through the snow from Delaware to come to Philly, right? It was like probably the worst snowstorm. Like, think about it, that like we've been together with. And like, but it was just multiple different things of just seeing that, she's a queen, she's quality, just how she carried herself, that how she spoke, about just life in general, right? Just how you just wanted more out of life. You wanted to do different things, but at the same time, wanted to have fun, right? And she was open to allow me to have fun. Like she couldn't keep up with me. She'll tell you. And she was just like, go ahead, do your thing, because I can't keep up with you. Like I'm calling out from work all these times. You're a little too much. So you go ahead and do your thing. I'll be right here.
Oh,
pretty cool.
So you the one to go to bed at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night?
Not on a Saturday. This was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. He had a night, something to do every single night. So no,
he was outside.
Saturday he was outside.
In a good way. In a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
But look, she became spoiled. That's all I'm going to say. When I stopped being outside, she said, why we got to wait in lines? So that's what happens when you stop going outside. Am I lying?
And Cherish, what did Jamai do anything specific or a few traits or something that he showed you that said, you know what, when he asked 5 years later, I'm gonna go ahead and marry this guy?
The number one thing was how he treated his mom and his sister, how he treated his family in general, nieces, nephews. It was just an open door policy. They could come and go as they needed. He supported his family without any hesitation. So to me, that was like the number one trait I saw in him, that I'm like, he's a provider, he's a protector, he cares for his family. I wanted that in my corner. I wanted somebody to care for me in that way. So that was number one. But then two, he's just so much fun to be around. He helped me like just overcome all of my discomforts, help me grow outside my comfort zone. In every single way possible. So yeah, he just made life fun. And of course we had similar goals. We wanted the same things out of life, just driven. He wasn't lazy, he was just
we're gonna get into that later. He's absolutely not lazy at all.
No. No, he does not like to sit still
at all, bro. So what was one of those things that he got you out of your comfort zone, if you don't mind sharing?
Just even going out. I am very introverted. So for me, I can, I fill up being alone. I can Netflix and chill by myself all day, every day. I'm an only child, so it's no problem for me to be alone. But he is the complete opposite. He fills up, well, he's both actually, but he can get a lot of energy out of being around people. And so he helped me become more that way, more social, willing to go out, have fun, invite people over. He likes to entertain. These are all things that just doesn't come natural to me, but it enriches our lives, right? It makes me a better person doing it. So even family, like he's a connector in our family. He reaches out to everyone. He makes sure we get together. These are all things that are super important that it's just hard for me to just do naturally, but it just comes so easily to him.
Nah, that's good. And that makes me kind of think about myself. Like, I remember Cam asked me a while back, maybe about a year and a half ago, maybe a year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. She was like, "Yo, are you an introvert?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." Because I can totally fall back and I'm good by myself. If I don't talk to nobody for a day or two, I'm straight.
Right.
But I feel like now that I'm doing this, it's kind of getting me out of my shell, out of my comfort zone. And now I'm looking back, I'm saying, am I really an introvert? I don't think I am anymore. But I feel like doing things like that and connecting with people and being around, different people and just being free.
Yeah. Getting out your own head.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, a lot of people who are not married have this idea in their head, like you and your mate are just frolicking through a field and everything's lovely. It's great. And everything's beautiful. Right. And if you've been married for a day or two or a couple of hours, you know that that's not the case.
Right.
So tell me about a time when you guys were married and you were like, "Yo, whoa, what? This is not the person I married." Like, what happened? Because let me say, I'm triggered right now. I'm sorry. Can I Jamai, you can understand this. Maybe you can. I don't know. But I'm sure some guys will be able to resonate with exactly what I'm saying. You and your mate are having a very good time. No friction, nothing. You guys are having a good time. You're laughing, you're joking. You say something and it gets taken the wrong way. And then she goes from 0 to 60 just like that. And I'm like, fam, do you understand that we were just laughing? I didn't even mean it that way. Please.
You can relate to that?
I can relate to that.
So anyway, I'm sorry. I was just triggered by
I don't think that happens. That's a Che thing.
I think so. But when did you guys realize like, yo, this is real? Like it's not frolic.
Real.
Wow, look at that face.
No, I mean, so the first thing that comes to mind is like you said, it's a cycle, right? You're good, everything's smooth, and then all of a sudden something flips, right? And for me, what I'm trying to learn is it's when I feel like I'm getting depleted, right? My bucket is not being filled up the way that I want it to be filled up. And not because he's intentionally trying to do something wrong, like he's trying his best to be Superman, but he's not hitting that right spot, right? He's not filling up the bucket.
I know what you mean. I'm not gonna pause that. I know what you mean. So I'm gonna let you live, sis.
And so then all of a sudden, like I just get haywire, and instead of just figuring out like that's the reason or communicating it, then I'm like, bad attitude, not giving, just like what is going on? Why am I in this marriage? This sucks. So I think that's the patterns that I say for me, I tend to go through, feeling depleted, not knowing how to communicate it, recognize it, saying what I need, asking for it, getting it so that I can get filled back up and we're back on the same page. So that's what comes to mind when you say that question.
That's good. How about you, sir?
So I would say, I guess because the original question is like, when did I know it was real?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Yeah. All right. So I would say probably like after that honeymoon phase, right? When you're really like buckling down, because when we got married, we knew we were buying a house, right? And we bought a house like months after, yeah. Like,
is it the house you're in now?
Yeah. Okay. Like 6 months or so.
So we got married and we started searching.
Yeah. And So part like going through that journey of looking for the house, like, because then you have to match your personalities up when you're looking for a house. Number one, even like the thought of planning for a house, because I was moving from Philly, she was already in Delaware, and she already had her townhouse, so I kind of moved in per se. And this, to be honest with you, this is the first time I've ever lived with a female that was like not my family, right? So that was a new experience in itself. So now like sharing a sink, right? That's real, right? It's like, yo, you're gonna clean that, and if you don't know, she's a neat freak, so it's like you're gonna clean that sink. That's why the house we had to get, it had to have two sinks. Sorry, just had to.
Yep.
And then going through like searching for a house. Oh, even like when I moved my stuff in her basement, like I remember having this big, remember them big floor model TVs? Like
oh yeah. You have one of them?
I mean, the big one, like it was a projector.
Yes.
Like, and I thought I was that dude having one of them, right? Because nobody in the hood had that. I got this big, and I moved into her house, and she's like, or into the townhouse, and she was like, "What is this?"
Definitely the moment.
So she never seen it before?
No, she did, but she's like,
why are you bringing it here? Like, get rid of, like, that is when it became real. Like, when our lives had to start merging, and I'm like, what are you doing?
And to remember that you're an only child too, so you were used to your space, and then for him to move into that and then disrupt.
That did become real.
And I did the hood moving, so I didn't come with suitcases. I came with the big black trash bags full of clothes. So I'm throwing that in the basement, and she's like, "You gonna get rid of that? Like, you gonna keep that?" And I'm like, "This is some good stuff. Like, what's your problem?" So that was a whole thing or whatever. So like that whole transition of me coming to Philly, and the funny thing is, like, right from the start, I was willing to sacrifice. So I'm like, sacrifice, because it was a whole discussion. Still to this day, she disagrees on this, but there's a whole discussion like, do you want to stay in Philly? Do you want to move to Delaware?
I was willing to move to Philly.
She wasn't.
I wish I would have recorded that.
I was ready to move.
Do you see this person?
First of all,
a townhouse.
Thank you.
In Delaware. I mean, you was willing to move to a row house in Philly?
What's the difference?
That she the difference. First of all, I was going to go there with you, but I'm not going to do that because then people might judge me. I'm not.
They're the same.
There's a huge difference.
There's definitely not.
Stop it.
Thank you.
There's not a difference. Anyway, to be debated at a later time.
Yes.
But this is the thing, and we on Wealth is a Journey now.
It is.
And I'm about my coins. He's about his too. He had zero mortgage on his house in Philly. So you talk about, where do I want to live? I want to live in a place where we have zero payment and we can stack this money.
Understand.
So that's the time I was on. But he was looking at the bigger picture.
I did, because I definitely sacrificed in the sense of thinking about family, growing family, being in that, more of a peaceful place. Because one of the things I remember, like even like fully committing and living in her townhouse, I couldn't sleep at night because she remembers it was so quiet. And I had more than one car, and all my cars had the loudest alarms. So if the wind would blow it, it would just do a chirp like, rah, rah, and wake up her neighbors, stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, somebody's about to get my car. There's nobody.
Turn off the alarm. Nobody is messing with your car.
Just leave the doors open. Just figure out how to. So I had to call my boy Jay, who's like my best friend, mechanic, everything, and I had to tell him, like, cut the horn off the car because she was just so annoyed by it. But all that being said, I had to like sacrifice like what was my norm, because that would help me sleep. Like, me hearing sirens and stuff like that to say, all right, what is the bigger picture? Like peace, comfort, and things of that nature. So if it comes with a mortgage, it comes with a mortgage, right? But it provides peace for our journey. So
that's good, man. That's good. And this kind of leads me to my next question. So I think marriage is beautiful, right? Because I feel like it teaches you a lot about yourself. at first you try to change the person.
Yeah.
The faster you change yourself, the better relationship you're going to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember when I first got married, my wife, we running around or whatever the case may be, and then there came a point in time where she was like, "Well, I'm tired," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm ready to get to it, like like we used to, like it's jam time." You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, where are we going with this? Okay,
no, it's jam time. But this is my story. This is my story. You tell your own story. This is mine. Okay. So the thing is like, okay, she's like, well, I'm tired. And I'm like, well, like, okay. Then she started running down the things that she was doing. I'm doing this. I'm washing dishes. I'm cleaning this. I'm cleaning that. I'm like, got it. Okay, cool. Yeah. So if I take some of those things off your plate, you'll be less tired. So what was the thing that helped you to realize like I need to change myself because something that I'm doing may be missing the mark, or I may need to be doing more of something to help this person? Cherish, what did you do, or what did you find out about yourself that you might have needed to change?
The control, like everything needing to be my way, perfect, clean, like you said, with the sinks and the cleaning and everything's got to be in its spot. Like
okay, yep, go ahead. No, I'm listening. No. Focus on me.
I was looking at you.
The first time I realized it could be a problem, it might be a problem, was moving into this house. And I remember getting so upset, like, why are you moving this stuff in here? Why are you putting it here? Why don't you put it here? And he was like, why don't you focus on your own things and stop worrying about my things? And I'm like, you're right. I'm trying to control too much, right? Like I was just trying to make sure everything was like the way that I wanted it to be. So I think for me, like that's been the biggest. It's still not 100%, probably about 90% at this point. But as I work towards 100, it's still just like letting go of the things that like really don't matter, like the minor things, and not trying to control so much. And if something truly does bother me, instead of trying to make him do it, like, okay, if something needs to be cleaned up, like if it's that serious to me, then I just need to do it, right? Like stop nagging, don't be such of a nagger about things that may not be important to him. Like if it's not important, it's not important. Like let it go. Like so I've been working on that. And like I said, I'm about 95% there.
25, that's fine.
95.
Yeah, no
so
problem.
Once I get that last little bit, I think I'll be perfect. Almost perfect. Yeah.
But when we feel ourselves getting upset, like you can feel when it's about to go left. And do you now like kind of walk away? Do you breathe?
Absolutely.
Jamai, is that
she answered that really fast.
She said it a little bit too fast. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not.
Get the question though.
100%. All the time. I feel it, and I'm like, "Ooh, get away, girl! Walk away."
Bro, nah, because like we're almost 20 in, right? And I still have to do that, and I'm still learning how to do things. So it's still,
yeah, it's a shame.
Wow,
so long.
We don't. But that's
why
like,
you let her on the
I don't know. I should have just asked you to be on the podcast to talk about the marriage series, fam. We could have just done this ourselves.
We need to flip this around. What's Tanera?
But yeah, it's a constant journey of learning how to deal with yourself first and then deal with other people. So Jamai, what about you, buddy? What about you, man?
As far as dealing with myself, part of it was like because I was outside, like going out. That was a big thing. Like I like being out. Like that was my thing. Like so I had a stressful job, and she knows it. So like no, definitely not. Compared to what I had, no. So even when I was off the clock, I was on the clock, like all the time. And I had to decompress. I would go out on Fridays was my like we want to celebrate because we made it through the week. It was like a victory lap every Friday.
Every Friday at Friday.
At Fridays.
Let's go. Yes.
No exaggeration.
On City Line Avenue?
Friday. Yes.
City Line Avenue Friday.
Yes. Yeah. Like literally, I knew all the bartenders. I knew the GM. Like they knew when I pulled up, I literally didn't have to say nothing. They just put it on the counter, like, let's go. And then if it was people around me, everybody gets one too. We're just celebrating Friday. And like I had to slow those routines down and celebrate with my family, right? Getting through the week. So I had to learn, like, you can do that sometimes, but you can't do that all the time, right? So I had to learn to check myself. And that was a big thing to me because that was like my reward to myself. Like I just did all of this and I just want to celebrate. And especially with my job, like I would have to work a lot of Saturdays. So it was like, all right, if I can't celebrate on Friday, I have to go to work on Saturday. I'm going to be tired Saturday night. So literally I just have Sunday, and then Sunday is basically church. So I have no day to celebrate like me making it through this week. Cause especially, and you know how it is being in sales, like that sales pressure, and you know, they got sued for it. So everybody can really imagine for about it. Like the sales environment is a different environment. So when you can get through a week and hit your goals, it's like, yo, I gotta tell somebody, I gotta do something. And I didn't have that chance to celebrate it. And what I learned, especially today, was I didn't communicate that properly, right? I just said it as I want to go out. It wasn't like, listen, I'm stressed. This is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. It was, yo, what are you doing? You're not letting me go out, right? And that's where I had to start checking myself. How do I communicate? Even now, like she knows, she kind of gets a little frustrating because I pause a lot and I have to like replay the conversation, almost play chess with myself. Like, like, all right, let's say this and say it like, so I have to pause, think about like how my words are going to impact her, and then how is her words going to impact me, right? So I had to think all that through, but I wasn't doing that back then when we first got married or when we were dating. Like I wasn't doing that. I was just thinking, like, I ain't never had to talk like this to a woman, as far as like check myself and then figure this out before I say something. I just said what I wanted to say, and that was it. So I had to learn that process about myself.
Good. That's good. Now, what was there multiple conversations, or I'm not going to say nagging, but was there a nagging that said, yo, you need to slow down?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that moment, it was a nag. But when you know how you look at stuff hindsight, it was like, yeah, you know, you were doing a little too much. Like just chill. Like you're doing shit. I mean, I can say it because even now, because like I've been in the house a lot, and it's funny because when I tell her like, yo, I want to go out. Like even now, we just had this conversation just now. She's like, you need to go out because I've been chilling.
But yeah.
No, I agree
so
with you.
It's just the balance. Like, so yeah, it was definitely off balance back then for me. But of course, like I didn't know that's what I was needing. I was seeking quality time. My bucket was empty. You're going and pouring out to all these other people. You're giving them the best of you. And then I get the midnight, I'm ready. And I'm like, what? I'm not. No, you've been out living your best life. No.
Yo, you know what's so funny? I just seen this, I don't know if you call it a meme or a video or whatever on Facebook today. I forgot the name of the show with I think it's Damon Wayans, and he was married to Tisha Campbell. My wife and kids. They just showed this today. So his brother, I forgot the other Wayans brother, but he came over and he was dating this girl, and the girl came down with a t-shirt on, and they were dating, right? And she was like, I'll be upstairs. He said, go upstairs, honey, and keep it warm for me. And she's like, no, I'm gonna keep it hot for you, right? And then Tisha Campbell comes down with the face mask on and everything, and the bonnet and the robe. So they were like the married couple. And she's like, honey, I can't sleep. Something to that effect. He's like, I'll be up there in a minute. And he takes a drink because she didn't come down like enticing him to come upstairs and whatever may be. Long story short, the whole point of it is it's because for me, I always want to date. Like I always want to date her, and that was always my like emphasis. Like let's date. And like it's always that stereotype. Like once you get married, like the dating stops. And that always has been a thing for me. Like, well, why does it stop? Like, I thought you marry somebody to date them, like in a responsible way, exclusively, right? So, for sure. And I get that kids come into the play, and I get that. Like, it can't be every day, but at least you still have those dating moments, right? Those enticing moments, and that's just always been one of my like focuses. Is like, let's keep that going.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because there was a point in time where we were just coasting, me and my wife. We've been married for a long time, right? And we were just coasting. So what we ended up doing was we ended up making a date night at least once a month, at the very least, do a date night. So when you saw, or was there a time when you saw it maybe getting a little stale and you guys weren't dating as much as you would have liked, Jamai? And what did you do about it? Or did you do anything about it?
Yeah, we still got to work on it though. But like, because we still have 2 young kids and we don't have like tons of support around us to like watch the kids that often. But what we said is Friday evenings, we're going to put the kids to bed early and make Friday evenings our time. So that's the commitment we have set. But you know, we can't do that every week. Things happen. But at least we try to reserve Friday evenings, get the kids to bed early. It's not time for them to hang out all late. No, like get them to bed early and let's enjoy our Friday evenings together. So
it's good.
That's what we try to work on.
No, that's good, man. And even if we would put money aside to go on a date or something like that, sometimes it just wouldn't happen. And not just 1 month, sometimes it would be 2. Because the days would just get away from us, and the time would get away, and nobody would say, "Hey, well, we didn't go," and it would just go by the wayside. So being intentional about those Fridays that's huge, man. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to happen all the time. You guys might be beefing on a Thursday night, and it might carry into Friday. It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Real. This is real.
Yeah, it's true. Events, kids, life, work. Yeah, so many things pop up, but I think we have to. Your wife actually told me something recently because I was feeling like, you know what, I'm just not doing this marriage thing well. Like, it's just not feeling good. Like, I feel like I'm just failing at it. And she was like, you know, you got to get your priorities back in order. God, your husband, you, and your kids. I don't know actually where I fit in, but I know it was God, my husband, and then my kids. Like, I can't let the kids trump Jamai. And so I am trying to keep that as a reminder for myself. Like, if I want to like do something, like if we have free time, who am I spending that time with? What am I planning for those free hours? Am I planning something for the kids, or am I planning something for Jamai? And maybe it is the kids because we've done what we need to do on our side. But if that's not right, then that needs to be where we focus on first, doing something together versus trying to fill the time with the kids.
What's going on, family? This is Che Willis from Wealth is a Journey. Did you know that we just started a wealth building community? In this community, we meet once a month on Zoom. We discuss financial areas of opportunity. We discuss wins and strategies to get you to the M's. In anybody's wealth building journey, if you're just starting out, it can be super lonely and difficult. In this community, we're also going to hold you accountable to where you say you want to be. So if you need the accountability, if you need the family atmosphere, if you need help getting to your desired financial result, come join the community. My website is www.wealthisajourney.com. Join the community today to get to your financial result. Thank you. And now that you brought that up, that's good that you brought that up, because if your kids see you guys not spending time together, then that's going to impact them as well. So for you guys to spend that time together, because they'll see that and then they'll want that as well. Like, oh, I want my husband to treat me the way my parents treat each other, and they'll see that. So it's impacting them from that angle as well.
Yeah.
There are some times where parents or kids see their parents fighting or arguing, and they feel like maybe that's the way things are supposed to be. Then they grow up and they're arguing with their spouse.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, definitely have little people just watching us constantly. It's gosh.
So you had mentioned earlier that you want it all. Where are you in that journey of attaining or achieving the things that you said you want to cherish? And then I'm gonna get to you, Jamai, afterwards.
I mean, I think I'm on track. Okay. Like, if there is a right track to be on, but I feel like every year or whatever the frequency is, I see me accomplishing the things that I desire, that I've set out, that I've prayed to God about, that I've laid down, that I've vision board about, whatever it is, whatever those intentions are that I've set, I see those things happening. I see new ideas coming into my mind, new things to add, and continuously crossing those things off the list. I mean, not like, yeah, again, nothing is 100% perfect, but where things don't happen, I understand why. And I can either replan or cross it off, replace it with something else. Like, I'm not so set on it being a certain way. I'm just set on progress happening, and I see progress happening. So I feel good about it.
That's good. What about you, bro?
So I agree with her totally. And definitely from, just a God standpoint, like God has definitely blessed us in so many ways. Like to come from a position of not knowing what we want in the marriage, or not knowing what we want every year, to having conversations about, all right, this is what the year is going to look like. This is what the 6 months is going to look like. This is what the quarter or the week is going to look like, to be able to get to that point of constant communication and then hitting those targets. And even if there's a barrier or obstacle, we like figure it out. Like it's like, all right, if we move this, if we do that, like it'll get done.
Yeah.
And God is definitely, he's always on time. But let me just say that, like always on time. Like it'll be a message or a messenger, right? That comes in and says, hey, do it this way, or I got you, like come on over here. And it like, and I know it's going to transition to something else, but just even like the fact of wanting to do something to give back, right? For me, it was like, oh, I want to do something, I want to give back. That's just been my journey, like no matter what career or anything I've done. But at the same time, I wanted to do something with her, and I wanted to encourage her to be more in the entrepreneurial pathway, because she mentioned it, but she doesn't want to leap. And so like we started with, hey, just think about what you want to do. She thought about it, right? She put it out there. She's like, well, I don't know who to do it with, or it's like with project management. Like in a way, like, hey, I want to help people. We're going to create this nonprofit. And I didn't really notice at the time. She surprised me with it. Well, can I be a project manager? Right. And I wanted to give it to her, but I didn't want to give it to her. I wanted her to go through the process of, all right, when you really speak to someone you got to get hired for to do that, like, let's see what that process looks like. So she didn't interview with me. She interviewed with my directors of the nonprofit, and she went through that, and that became real. And then she did an amazing job, right? To the point of like, people are like talking about her, like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you do that? And the reason I bring all that up is because it just shows the constant elevation of hitting things not only separate but together, right? To move together in unison of saying, hey, if it came down to it, if we had to just work for ourselves or work on our own, we could work together, right? You probably I have to leave a couple hours, I can come back, I'll be in the library, be in the house, because we probably can't be in the house together all day, every day, but we still can work together.
Maybe we're still
I believe we can work.
I believe it too, man. And for those who are new to this podcast and don't know what Jamai is talking about, they had a financial camp for young adults, for youths.
Yes.
Last summer, and it was amazing. My son was a part of it. I think the ages were from 13 to 18, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And it was completely free. They did a phenomenal job. They did a phenomenal job. So I'm sure if they're going to do it again, I think they are.
Oh, it's already done.
There'll be another podcast episode and more promotion surrounding that to get these youths what they need from a financial literacy standpoint.
Yes.
Adults need it as well. And so shout out to y'all for doing that, and y'all did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. The reason I asked that question earlier was because what we want all the things. Like my thing is, and I talked to you about it, and I'm gonna put it out there when I was at your house last time, is I want to fly private. but I understand that comes with a cost. And I may fly, or we may fly private, and it may not cost me anything. Right. It may be a job or a gig speaking somewhere. Yo, y'all coming with me? We out. We going.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is the things that we want come at a cost. And we talk about work-life balance and stuff like that. I don't believe that exists, because one thing that you go after is something's going to suffer as a result of it.
Yeah.
But as long as everybody's on the same page about what we want, then we understand what it may cost. So how do you guys navigate that? Because, and the reason I ask that is because I know you specifically, Jamai, you're doing a lot, bro, and you're doing a lot in the community. You're a community leader. You're an entrepreneur, a real estate investor. You the child care center, like you do a lot. So how do you guys balance that? Because I'm sure you had to get okayed from Cherish. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, we all want the things, but it comes with a cost. So how do you guys navigate that?
So it always starts with a conversation. He definitely always consults me before taking on any new activity. And it always sounds so great. It's like, all I have to do is this. And if I do this, then all of this is going to happen. And you'll be one step closer to not having to work. And
I'm the salesman, bro. I like it.
Oh my gosh. He lays it on. Oh, this is the return. And this is the time period. And I'm just like, go for it. You know what? We trying to get to X, Y, and Z. We want our house paid off. We want zero debt. We want to travel internationally with the kids. We want to stop working 9 to 5 early. We want to retire from a 9 to 5 early. We want to dictate our schedule. Yeah, these are all the things we want. If you think that this is going to help us get there, yes, I am on board. And then reality sets in, and that's when I get off balance. And then I'm like, what did you sign up for? Quit now. Why are we doing this? So yeah, I think and then we have to figure it out again, right? Because we're committed, we're in it. So it definitely requires a lot of constant communication and just like understanding, okay, what did we think it was going to be? Let's first we take everything into lessons learned for the next thing. I don't fall for any of the beautiful pictures anymore. I'm like, let's talk about what it's really going to look like. What's the worst it can look like? So I prepare myself, like going into the situation. I try to get more prepared. And then it's guaranteed I'm gonna not like it once we're in it. So we got to stay in communication. And that's when I think it's on him, because he's the one out here doing all the 50 million things. So I'm like, you got to figure something out in terms of balance. You got to take some time off. You got to make a date night. You got to find us the babysitter. You got to, and it's not even just about me. It's even about his own health and well-being. Like, he'll be up in the middle of the night working, trying to not make it a burden on us, trying to not take time away from us. So then he's not sleeping. He's working late nights. And then that hurts me even more to see him putting his body through that. So I think then in those moments, I'm like, all right, you got to find the balance. You got to find the balance. I'm probably like a broken record with that. I'm like, we're in it. I get it. We're going to see this through. But how do we make this more easy, more enjoyable, more balanced as we're going through it? And then where is the light going to be? And when that break comes, like, we are breaking. Like, don't talk to me about anything else. Slow down, stop, pause. So making sure he's doing things that aren't like a 100% for 100 years. Like, it's got to be like, I'm going to go hard for this period of time, but I know once I've reached the end of this, I'm going to have a moment of break before we figure out what the next thing is. So those are some of the things we experience with trying to have it all, get it all, go for it all. I don't know.
Bro, I started writing down like some of the things that you do, and I got overwhelmed. And I do a lot too, but I don't know if I do a lot as much as you do, but I got overwhelmed, bro. So how do you do it, yo?
So one of the things I really learned from Cherish was organizational skills. Like, that is definitely, how like they say your partner makes you better. Like, she definitely made me better from like coming from the place that I came from. Seriously, like it all stayed in my head. I didn't write it down because my mom never showed me that she wrote it down. I learned that she wrote stuff down. So to me, she is an amazing woman, right? And she was able to function and figure out so many things. And I'm like, how did you do it? And she never like really passed that on. So I had to learn by watching her. And then I learned to pick up that trait of like, keep it in your head, like figure it out, blah, blah, blah. But Cherish was like a writer. Like she wrote in journals and stuff like that, lists and notes. So then that helped me.
Operation, so that makes sense.
Yeah. And then I can see priorities, like when you write it down, like, all right, this is my priority. Like towards the end of the month, all right, that's the real estate priority. Like sending out the invoices, blah, 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 blah. All right, we're past the 5th of the month. Real estate is done. Like, let's focus on this, blah, blah, blah. So it was all, still to this day, it's a timing kind of machine that I got in my head, even with teaching at the school, right? She knows, like, I'll spend probably 48 hours, no lie, like just being up and just making sure I'm 4 weeks in advance with lesson plans and stuff like that. So now I don't have to worry about that for, in my head, 2 weeks. So I got 2 weeks off, even though I did 4 weeks in advance, because I always got to be basically 4 weeks up. So it's always a timing thing of, like she said, go hard with this, let it go. Now focus on the next thing. And what I would say for what she said was, like the traveling, we have no problem if we need to travel. That, and like I look at the benefits, right? If the house wants to be paid off, it could be paid. Like think like we don't have to me, how I look at it, we're all, and I'm sorry to be a little more morbid in this, we're gonna die, right? We're all gonna die.
Sure.
But
yeah, make it out.
If I pass, things will be paid off. There won't be no debt. There won't be a stress where now she can really focus on the kids. She can focus on the family. And that, I guess that's one of my biggest things, like, as far as like, what's that legacy? All right, hopefully there is a legacy of love, there's a legacy of inspiring people to want to be educated, know about finances, things of that nature. And at the same time, her and the kids, their experience of life will be different, whereas though they can just live. And she already talked about minimizing, living in a tiny house, all this stuff. They can do all that and not think twice about it. And I really believe then that will allow them to take it to another level for their kids. And that's kind of been my focus of why I'm going hard. But at the same time, I listen, like I'm compromising.
Right.
And even on my email signatures, like, all right, don't contact me after this time. Like I've literally at times looked at my phone after 6 o'clock and I'm like, I'm not responding to the next day. Right. Yeah. And I know sometimes she don't believe me, but literally I have to look at the phone to know not to respond. So I look at the phone and be like, all right, don't respond. Right. Or if it's not an emergency from the tenant, I'm like, I'm not dealing with that, or I'll just have somebody else do it. At least
gotten a lot better with that.
Yeah.
Because it was the point where he's like running up to Philly every weekend, and for properties, but for family as well. Like even with family, sometimes we had to like put some guardrails, some boundaries, because it's like like I said, the thing that attracted me to him was how available and how present he was with his family. But now you have a whole situation here in Delaware. You have to shift that. And that was really, really hard. But he really, really worked through that. You really did.
That was hard. Now you want to talk about some conversations, because it's like, yo, that's my sister. Yo, that's my mom. Like, especially my mom, like, oh, you tripping. That's my mom. Like, you know, I'm going to Philly. And I really had to, and just like Tanera said, right, to her, like I had to figure out those priorities. And even had a conversation with my mom, you know, this was before she got sick, but have a conversation where like, Mom, I gotta do this with the family first. I'll be down there later. And then I would sneak throughout the week. So like she said, I would try to figure out times that it wasn't as impactful, right? So if I knew we're spending family time on the weekend, I would go like run after school, after work to my mom's and get back hopefully before the kids go to bed, right? So, because I knew that the weekend was, we got to do X, Y, and Z, so I can't go see my mom on the weekend. So I would prioritize a lot of the things I would do for the family. But even now, like, you know, I love my family to death, but I have to figure out like, all right, when do I have that time? When do I do this? Because the one thing I don't want it to do is impact the household in a negative way, because for the most part, there's nobody, none of my family or friends or anybody's here having this conversation with her. I'm the only one.
And they don't come to Delaware. That was the other thing. It was always a one-way thing. It's like, Jamai, you come do this, come do this, come do this. And it's like, yo, y'all can easily come to Delaware. So he's not the one ripping and running, trying to drag his whole family up the road. Like it was, yeah, we just had to really set some boundaries there. But we're figuring it out. We still.
No, we're good.
I think on the family thing,
we're always figuring
good. Yeah.
It's always hard, but I think we got better control.
Yeah.
Especially because Tanera, she's really tight with her family. I'm tight with my family, but not to my detriment. Meaning, like, if you get into some nonsense, 9 times out of 10, if there's a pattern of nonsense, I'm not coming. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're not going to drag me into your nonsense. I'm just not doing it. But that's how the family was. And I don't know if they're still that way, but I used to say to her, like, I don't know how you do that.
Right.
Like, anytime 2:00 in the morning, something, you're running out the house. Like, what? No, we were asleep. Like, what are you doing?
That would have been him.
100%.
But I get it. I get it though. I understand. But especially when you grew up that way.
Right. Yeah.
Like, family, like it's hard to kind of break away from it. Yeah.
Right.
We talked about building legacy, and we're gonna talk about the babies now. because I feel like this is why we do what we do, right? But I also feel like the way we raise our kids, we're raising the little us. Meaning that a lot of the things that we didn't have, we try to provide our kids with, and sometimes to our detriment. We try to give them whatever, and they don't see what the work that it takes to get to the thing. And we're not really giving them the thing that they actually really need, which is time. We're ripping and running. We're doing all this, and we're providing. And I had a conversation with my son. One thing that I put in place was to go to breakfast with him once a month, and we sit, we play cards at the breakfast table. We eat, we break bread, we just talk about nothing. And I think that's impactful for him. He likes doing that. But we were listening to a podcast on the way home, and he was like, something came up like something like, yo, are you a workaholic or something like that? Something. And he asked me, like, yo, do you think you're a workaholic? I'm like, well, you tell me, do you think I am? Tell me about my schedule. He broke it down. And he's like, yeah, at night you're tired all the time. And I'm like, so I'm like, well, how would you fix that? And he was like, well, maybe you don't schedule as much of, this time or that time. Maybe you cut back on your schedule a little bit. So I said, okay, I got it. I see what you're saying. I'm going to go ahead and knock my schedule back a little bit. So a lot of times we're doing a lot of the things for the little us because we didn't have.
Right.
Do you guys feel that way now that I kind of brought that up? Do you guys feel that way, that you're taking care of the little you and actually providing the things that you didn't have to your guys' detriment?
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny, the example you just gave, we just heard in church, right, on Sunday from Pastor about, being intentional to listen to your child, right? Because, that is what fosters the relationship, getting their feedback, right, and understanding their perspective. And one thing I know we have in place that I didn't have when the little me was, my mom worked 16 to 20 hours a day to the point where she would fall asleep religiously in the car in front of the house, like religiously. And I would have to get her out the car, or she would tell me to sleep in the car, and I would just be watching out the window, make sure she's all right. Fast forward to today, we really have put in place where every Friday we intentionally are going out to eat with them, right? Or if it's not going out to eat, we're like sitting down and eat, and we try to create put diversity into it and go into different restaurants, Indian, Asian, whatever, right? And I believe that's impactful because they actually see us together as a family. Even on this Sunday, and Sundays we'll do it here and there. If we get up early before church, we're having breakfast together, right? And the kids have, which I never had in my life, like not one day, where the kids automatically are going to get the placemats and setting up the table. Like, I think that is so, just dope. Just she just like, yo, well, it's at the table. They getting the cups, the plate, everything. Like, and to have that as a routine and tradition, right? That to me is a statement of coming together as a family. Because as they get older, because I know when I got older, it was like sit at the dinner table. Like, nah, like you got the food on the stove, like I'm gonna grab my plate and I'm out, right? And that was just a learned behavior, right? But now they're learning like, all right, sometime during this week, we all gotta sit down and we all gotta eat together. And it's actually more when I think about it, it's more times than just one or twice, because think about the times where I cook on Tuesdays and stuff like that. Like we all sit down, we talk about the horror. Like, so it's a couple of times a week, like we're just sitting down, no matter how busy our schedule is as a family, and just being with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you, Cherish?
No, I would agree, like creating those memories, those moments. For me, it's less about material things. Like I didn't get everything I wanted as a child, but I'm smart enough to know like that's not what kids need, right? They don't need more things. They have way too much stuff, though I did probably overdo it with the toys and just I just want them to stay children. Like that's my goal. I want to keep them kids and babies for as long as I can. So yeah, if they want a baby doll, I will buy a baby doll. But I'm not into like.
And that's why I buy stock in Mattel. And Skylar asks me all the time. She just asked me yesterday, "What's our Mattel stock price?" Because of this person.
I like it. Let's go. I like that.
No, I think that's awesome too, because I definitely didn't know anything about stocks at that age. So for me, it's just like making sure we have safety, security, financially, physically. But honestly, like that probably keeps me on guard so much that I can't always be the fun loving parent. He's much more the fun loving parent, and I get caught up in like, are you safe? Do you have what you need? Are you secure? And it's hard for me to just be like, let's just have fun. And I know my kids are going to get on me one day about not being just present and stop worrying so much. But
it's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's especially when you know this world that's out there to just swallow them up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm that parent too, Cherish. Like I'm like having fun. We're going to have fun. I want to be we're financially right, and you're going to get all this. You're going to get all this financial information because it's important. Because if something happens to me, I want to make sure that you're straight, not just monetarily, but you have the knowledge.
Yeah,
and you understand why we're doing this all the time, why we're talking about this. When at this point in time, I feel like he could care less.
Right.
But that's just reality of the situation. But I know that at one point in time, he's going to get him like, oh, now I understand why he said this and why we did this or whatever the case may be. And my wife is the fun-loving parent. Like that's he's outside. She wants to have. I'm cool being here watching CNBC or watching somebody. And I could go off the deep end sometimes, and I need us going to breakfast and laugh, and have a good time. I need to do that. Yes. You can see I'm struggling through it. It's tough, man.
It is when you're the one who's like, is everything okay?
So we got these beautiful babies of yours, Skylar and Chloe, and I want to give you two a shout out because your baby Skylar just wrote a book. So let's talk. First of all, let's talk about this book, man. Let's talk about the book. So how did it come about, and how did you kind of help her move that process along, Cherish? And
shout out to the village, to our circle, because it wasn't us. I mean, us in the sense of hair days are just what they are in our house. I got 2 girls. It's going down. The hair is just like a routine, right? It's always on the schedule, and it's not an enjoyable process. My daughter gives me a hard time every time I have to get into her hair. But at the same time, I also see it as the moments where we bond, right? It's the moments that we're talking, that we're intimate, we're close. And so it's very special too, as difficult as it can be. So through that experience, she is also, Skylar's just a very creative person. She's just always thinking, acting, dramatics. She's going to be our our actress or something in that space. And so, yeah, before she could really write, she would still just be writing. She would just be making lines and squiggles. And then eventually with the iPad, learning how to speak into it and seeing words appear. So she was already like formulating stories. But honestly, it was through spending time with her Aunt Kim that I don't even know how it happened, but it was, I think they must have had a conversation like, I want to write a book. And Aunt Kim was like, well, come on over and we'll have some writing sessions. And literally, I just dropped her off one day and thinking like they're just going to play around. She's like, we have a book that we're working on and it's about her hair, getting her hair done. And she would just go over periodically. Cam would just be like, can you drop her off this day so we can do some more writing? And they would spend their time together, do some writing. And then eventually they started working on pictures. And then Cam had the experience through writing her book. So she was really just able to guide her and Skylar through the process of writing their book and did it all on their own. And I literally just was like, here she is. Take her, let me know when to pick her up. And then she'd be like, well, I need this for this. And I'd be like, here you go. So shout out to Cam, to the circle, Mark, the Smith family, even Dwayne got involved with helping with some imagery. Yeah. Just taking a little kid's idea and making it something. And I think it's unbelievable to Skylar even to see where those little doodles, what those little doodles turned into.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
This is, and that goes to say like the legacy the legacy is changed with my hair day, right?
Up a little bit, please. Up a little bit. No, up. Just put the book. There we go. All right, cool. All right, good. Okay. Thank you. Right. Thank you.
But the legacy has changed this and that essence of just having an author in the family, right? And then being able to, beyond us and our time here on this earth, like this will always be here. One day, 50 years from now, somebody's going to somehow come across this book and wonder who a Skylar Robinson is, right? And then that would translate into, so who are their parents, or who is she related to? And maybe ask what school, because she's going to go to a great school and do great things. Like, what was her path in life, right? Just to be able to have questions about her and the family and the legacy. So that is really important to know that, the circle has created a positive legacy in our family, and we thank them for that.
100%, man. And if you guys don't know the Smiths, man, Kamala and Mark Smith, one of the most genuine couples that we probably all know. They want to see you win. They're going to connect you with the right people. Will give you the shirt off their back, I believe. And they've been on this podcast before as well. One of the most sweetest people that we probably all know. So it's good to have people in your corner, in your circle, that just genuinely just want to see you win, man. And I feel like the group, the circle that you mentioned many times, we all just want to see each other win, man. We laugh, we have a good time, but at the end of the day, like, we out here winning,
right?
Together.
You
know what I'm saying? So man, this is like I said, man, I pray for y'all, man. I pray for a friend group, a family like y'all, man, and y'all popped up, and I'm like, man, this is amazing, bro. So
that's how you ended up here. It was the prayer.
So,
and it was more so Jamai. It was more so Jamai praying for, not
and I was going to say, like, but you aligned yourself with a winning team,
Again, bro. Y'all got one Super Bowl win in 80 years, fam. Come on. We got 5 of them things.
That was like 20 years ago, though.
But it still happened. It's history. like they're gonna be able to look at Skylar's book and see the history. They're gonna be able to look and see VCR tapes or whatever the case may be. They're gonna be able to see these 5 chips. But one of the last questions that I have for you guys, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on the show. Is how are you changing things? Like, you grew up away. How are you changing things for the way that you grew up and changing things for the way your kids are now growing up? And I know you mentioned some things, but if you want to mention another thing, maybe.
Well, one of the things I would say, like, so for my son Jeremiah, right?
I was gonna say,
yeah, he's going through his transition right now. Let me just say this, but
we have a 23-year-old,
yeah,
well, which is really cool because we can see what we did there,
yeah,
and even make some different changes for the 6 and 8-year-old. So we have a lot of things we're going to change.
Yes. But I want to really point out the fact, like, yeah, he's great. He's great. He's respectful. He's just going through his transition, right?
We all did.
And I think it was a product, like you said, of just giving a lot, like just trying to compensate for what wasn't had of me in my life. But one thing I can say that I was just proud of this week, amongst all the other things he's doing, right? He's still communicating. He's still expressing himself on how he's thinking and the processing he's going through. And like, I didn't have that in my father, right? Mm-hmm. Like the time that I actually got to really talk to my dad, he was dying from cancer, right? And I was taking care of him. So it was like, he was asking me like, yo, can you put this car in your name? Like, can you pay these bills for me? And I'm like fresh out of college, right? And now I got another responsibility. It's like, I got a kid and I got another grown kid, right?
Yeah.
And
took care of you.
But it was crazy because my mom asked me, it's funny, even though my mom and him were not together forever, you could tell when like somebody genuinely still has love for people, right? Because she's like, the one thing I want you to do is take care of your dad, like whatever you need. And behind the scenes, I didn't realize she was still communicating with him, like asking him how he was doing, stuff like that. But they didn't like each other. But she still had love for him, which is two different, feelings and pathways. The whole point of this is he still has me there to talk, right? To communicate. And just in that essence, like that is changing like a lot in me of saying, hey, you did it, right? Like that's a goal, like to be there for the kids, to be there as they grow up and be able to show them like his love. One of the hardest things, like being super transparent, was saying the word I love you, because that wasn't a thing in my family, right? That is super hard. Like that's a word, like what? Like if you say that, like you like we putting a ring on, like we going in, like, right? That's a big thing. So to say that to my son, where it was never said to me, like the first time, I still can remember the first time I said it, I was like, whoa, like that took a lot. And then to make it a routine, like even now, like I'm technically, I love you, like I genuinely mean it, but at the same time I reflect on it, like that's hard because that wasn't said to me, right? Because now I have to get past that trauma to make sure I don't put that trauma on him and overcompensate for it.
Sure. That's good, man. And for me, while Cherish is thinking about her thing, is it still is, it's not tough, but my son says it all the time, like I love you, and I'm like, you're the man, and I'm like, dude, what are you like? Say I love you. It's okay. But it's for some reason it, like I pause every time before I say it, like it's weird to me to say that. And based on you just saying that, I felt it when I even thought about it. I felt weird, but it's not like
it's just not normal.
It's not normal.
You haven't normalized it in our own lives, so it doesn't feel normal, but it is normal and it's good. We just not used to it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, listen, man. I appreciate y'all for being on this podcast, man. Y'all have dropped a lot of gems, a lot of nuggets, and you were transparent and real. I mean, Jamai, you bring out the best in her, man. I can see it.
Thank you.
I can see it.
No claps to that. Hey, you bring out the worst.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
No, this was great. I enjoyed my time here, Che.
Good. That's awesome, man. Well, but before we go, we're gonna take it back to Seeds of Greatness. And first of all, I need to know how many years you guys have been married, and then I need one key to how you guys have stayed married, please.
We've been married for 12 years.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know if you asked me how long I've been a member at Seeds of Greatness. I was getting it confused. I didn't know what math I was mathing. But we've been married for 12 years. And my key, just don't sweat the little things. Don't be a nag. If it's that important to you, just do it yourself. Don't nag him to do it. Just let it go.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
My.
So my key is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Like, and I say it in two parts as a double-edged sword. One is I'm the only male in the household.
Now, that hasn't always been.
So I have to understand the emotional intelligence. I have to be emotionally responsible with them, how they interact. So I have to be emotionally responsible. I have to understand the calendar. I got to understand everything before I act. And then I have to be emotionally intelligent about myself. And I'm still still working.
This right here is not emotional.
He didn't ask for the commentary.
Right,
like he's trying to tell the story.
You always bringing this up.
Do you see emotional intelligence? How I just did a woosah?
Don't talk about it.
I didn't overtalk. I just waited for her to get her
statement out. That's good. That's good, bro.
Now I'm going to finish my statement. So the other part of my emotional intelligence is I have to understand when it's time for me to step up and put my foot down. And it's time for me to say, let's compromise, or a time for me to be submissive and say, you got it. You got the lead. Like I have to understand those steps and layers. This is layers to how to move forward in a situation. But I have not to respond with my emotions, but respond with really the proper process of how do we make this relationship better? How do we move forward in a better place?
That's
makes
good.
It sound so complex. I'm not that hard.
There you go. I prefer the Ike Turner version, Jamai. I like put both feet.
Eat the cake and
put both feet down. You know what I'm saying?
Eat this cake.
This has been great, man. This has been a really good time, man. I knew that you guys were going to be transparent and tell your story, man. And I definitely appreciate y'all. Y'all mean a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Same here, Che. We love you.
Oh, look!
I gotta pause. I gotta pause.
You see how you said you love me, and I was like, you the man.
Gotta pause.
We're glad you're in our circle. We'll keep you. Yay.
Y'all are crazy, man. Now I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all, again, we're gonna put the book information in the description. If anybody wants to buy the book, please go out and buy the book. It's a phenomenal young lady, and they got phenomenal parents. She got phenomenal parents. And also, when you guys are doing the financial literacy camp again, you guys have an open invitation to come on and talk about it and promote it and whatever you need to do.
Thank you.
We absolutely, man. We all winning out here, bro. And
yes,
appreciate y'all. I do.
Appreciate you too.
Y'all mean a lot. So guys, hopefully you guys have gotten a lot of nuggets for today's episode. Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week. Peace.